Gyatt Karen has to be one of the most interesting built characters in SpongeBob history. See, one day, regular Karen was in the Chum Bucket's kitchen, trying her best to turn Chum, the culinary equivalent of dumpster juice, into a 3-course meal. But here comes Plankton, who's so caught up with his latest scheme that he can't appreciate Karen's effort. Instead of being grateful that she somehow managed to make Chum look halfway edible, he's actually annoyed. Why? Because Karen's made Chum pot pie instead of the Chum stir fry that he requested. Like as if the difference between the two is anything more than a slight rearrangement of the same foul ingredients. Now at this point, you can almost feel Karen's circuits overheating as she explains for what's probably the millionth time that her memory is full. But has Plankton done anything about it? No. He's been too busy cooking up his next plot to steal the Krabby Patty formula. Spoiler alert, it's just as bad as all his other attempts. Now Plankton, with his infinite wisdom, has decided the solution to Karen's memory issue isn't, to actually fix her, but rather to replace her. Enter Karen 2.0, aka, I don't even know really what to name her, but she's got all the latest softwares, triple the processing power, and like a sleek space design. I don't know, she just honestly looks like a Tesla compared to the first Karen. Naturally though, this Karen is heartbroken. I mean, imagine you spent years being the perfect partner only to be dumped for a newer shiny model. Now Karen doesn't have a heart, so it's kind of weird for me to imagine that she feels betrayal right now, but I mean, she's pretty heated. But being that she is just a computer, she does the next best thing and just tries to zap Plankton into oblivion. Karen 1.0, yeah, she's practically trying to kill Plankton and she's just had enough, but I mean, you can't really blame her. Unfortunately though, before she even tries to get rid of Plankton, Karen 2.0 steps in, taps into the Chum Bucker's power grid, and just shuts off Karen, and that's it. She's just like dead, I guess. But meanwhile, at the Krusty Krab, SpongeBob is like about to end his workday, but he's acting like this is the most tragic event in Bikini Bottom history. As they walk by the Chum Bucket, SpongeBob trips over the box filled with the dead Karen. But this isn't even just a regular box, this is a free box of junk. And if there is one thing that gets Mr. Krabs' blood pumping, it's literally the word free. He rushes back, grabs the box, not caring that it's literally someone else's trash. SpongeBob, actually being the smart one for once, wonders if this could be one of Plankton's schemes. But Mr. Krabs is too busy drooling over his new free computer to care. So they take the box back to the Krusty Krab, plug Karen's head in, but Karen is absolutely heartbroken. SpongeBob tries to comfort Karen, but in classic SpongeBob fashion, he only makes things worse. He basically tells her that she's been replaced by a younger, shinier, gattier model, which shockingly doesn't help her feel any better. Karen then looks out the window and sees Plankton and Gyatt Karen having what looks like a romantic dinner at the Chum Bucket. At this point, you'd think she'd be used to the heartbreak, but I mean, this is probably her first time seeing them actually having a time together, so that was the final straw. At that moment, she declares that she never wants to see Plankton again and officially joins the Krusty Krab crew. Mr. Krabs, sensing free labor, welcomes her with open claws, and SpongeBob is just happy to have new friends, even if she's a sobbing, heartbroken computer. The next day, Squidward strolls into work, probably hoping that a meteor will crash into the Krusty Krab so he can finally have a day off. But what does he find? Karen sitting at his cash register. Mr. Krabs tells Squidward that he's basically being replaced by Karen because she's more efficient and mostly because she's free. It's interesting how something so normal to us can change so dramatically without even a warning. I mean, like, imagine you're driving home from work, minding your own business, when suddenly, bam, out of nowhere, you're in a serious car accident. But when it comes to a situation like that, what if I told you that your injuries could be worth millions, and yet so many people settle for far less than what they deserve? But that's where today's sponsor, Morgan & Morgan, come in. With over 1,000 attorneys across all 50 states, they've been fighting for the people for over 30 years, and they don't settle for lowball offers. Just recently, a South Florida teacher was injured in a car accident, leading to surgery and affecting her ability to teach. Now, Morgan & Morgan rejected a $200,000 offer, but winning a $2.6 million verdict. What makes Morgan & Morgan stand out is how easy they make it to get started. You can submit your claim and communicate with your legal team right from your smartphone. It's seriously as easy as clicking the link in the description or scanning the QR code on the screen. You can start your claim right now without even leaving your couch. Thanks again, Morgan & Morgan, for sponsoring today's video. You can check the link in the description. Now, Squidward's over the moon thinking he's finally free from taking orders and dealing with customers until Mr. Krabs assigns him to restroom duty, which, like, why doesn't this guy just quit? I mean, I don't know. It doesn't even make sense. And just when you think things can't get worse, in rolls Gyatt Karen. Plankton, who's been hiding inside her, pops out and immediately panics when he sees Karen working at the Krusty Krab. The two Karens start fighting back and forth, throwing insults like washed up analog has-been and glorified vacuum cleaner, which, bro, what a roast. Now, sensing a money-making opportunity, Mr. Krabs decides to charge customers to watch the fight because, I mean, why not? I mean, I feel like I would watch that too. In his world, everything is a potential revenue stream, and even a battle between two malfunctioning computers, that's a way to make money for it. The Krusty Krab basically turns into an MMA match, but just with the Karens going at it. And the moment the fight comes to a halt is the moment everything changes. Gyatt Karen accidentally crushes Plankton under her metal frame, and this is when regular Karen springs into action and just starts charging at Gyatt Karen. Now, Plankton realizes the error of his ways and uses Gyatt Karen's battery to bring back regular Karen back to life. She wakes up thinking it was all a dream, and Plankton for once seems to appreciate her. They head back to the chum bucket, leaving Mr. Krabs kind of sad because he just lost Gyatt Karen. In the end though, Mr. Krabs actually has Squidward wear the broken screen of Gyatt Karen as a mask, forcing him to continue taking orders in this like ridiculous robot setup. Honestly, it's kind of like morbid that they hollowed out her body for a costume. And also, let me just say, Gyatt Karen is not a husband stealer. She was only built that way because that's how Plankton programmed her, which is kind of insane. She also has the shortest lifespan of any characters in the entire series. Now, the one thing that surprised me about the Gyatt Karen episode is it reminded me of how many versions of Karens there have been throughout the show. Like, there was this wild version of Karen called Clockwork Karen, where the whole episode is kind of like a twist on the classic Jack and the Beanstalk story, and they go all out with this fantasy version of characters where Karen, who's usually the sleek high-tech computer, gets reimagined as this big old school Godfather clock with robot arms and wheels. It's honestly like someone took Karen and just combined her with the clock from Beauty and the Beast. In Deuces and Dragons, SpongeBob and Patrick get sent back to medieval times, and everything's all like knights, wizards, and castles. And Plankton, he's this evil one-eyed wizard, and of course Karen's right there with him, but not Gyatt Karen. Instead, she's just turned into a crystal ball. In the episode Welcome to Binary Bottom, Karen appears as an organic fish instead of her computer form or any other one we talked before. This version of Karen kind of flips the script where machines are organic and then the organic creatures are the machines. So out of all the Karens I've watched, I really have to say that not just because of how she looks, I think even with the story, the Karen guy was possibly the weirdest and best version yet.